Alrighty, so for this final week of the course, for week 8, we are going to be making instant ice. For this, I have already put 3 water bottles in the freezer. This is going to be my 3rd attempt, so we will cross our fingers that it works. But the first 2 videos I made earlier today, I was unable to get the instant ice to actually work, so we'll give it one more shot. If it doesn't work, we'll still talk about it and walk through what should have happened, and we'll go from there. But like I said, I had already put 3 water bottles, gotta be very careful with them, in the freezer. They were in there for about 2 hours and 45 minutes, give or take just a little bit, but I've been very careful not to start the process. I've been handling them very carefully, and so I've got 3 water bottles, and then I also have this bowl. In this bowl, you can kind of see without me dumping it all over, dumping the ice, there is ice cubes in here. So for this, there we go, you can see the ice cubes, and so pretty much when I dump the water on the already formed ice, it should turn the water in the water bottles into ice crystals immediately on contact of the actual chunk of ice. This happens because the water in the water bottles is already below freezing. It just needs that little kickstart to turn into ice. So I'm gonna open up a bottle real quick, very carefully. Oh gosh. And we will dump and see how it goes. So let's see. Oh, it looks like I started the process already. That's not good. And nope, it looks like it's going to be all water. That's kind of a bummer. Actually, what I'll do is I'll just kind of jab at this one and we'll see if it will form into ice in the bottle. Not really. I don't know if you can see it, but it's still liquid at the top. It did form a lot of big ice chunks in there. But I don't know if that might have already happened from the freezer. This last bottle we will go ahead and open and try and pour it and see if we can get any ice crystals to form on this one. And nope. Dang. Unfortunately, not wanting to work for me. But that is okay. We will go ahead and still just talk about the process and what should have happened. So pretty much this process of ice crystals and everything, the startling process, so pretty much the water is already below the freezing point. And so this is actually termed metastable. This is where the water stays liquid until something kicks off the process of forming into those ice crystals. And the actual process of forming those ice crystals is called nucleation. And that's a nucleation process. So it's pretty much the water in this bottle is perfect until you make that first start. So by any imperfection or something, so that's why in the video that the professor had posted on Blackboard about this, you could see he kind of took the bottle out of the freezer and just kind of hit it real quick, and then the whole thing like spidered into ice. That pressure and that hit right there started the process where one ice crystal formed, and then the rest just spidered off of that. So that process is called nucleation. And so pretty much we all know water does freeze at 32 degrees Fahrenheit, but it has to have that little start for it to actually happen. So it doesn't actually form ice until that happens. So the water, that's why we had it in the freezer for that long, is the water is below 32 degrees for us. We needed it to be that in order for this process to work. Unfortunately, it still did not work for me, but we gave it the best shot that we had, and that was that. But for this, it is really cool. The water pretty much should have built up because I already have the ice down in here. Once the water hit the ice, it should have formed like the big clunk of like slush, almost kind of like a wet snowball. I think that's how they described it in the video that was posted on Blackboard. But really the big process with this is just, it's called nucleation, is when the ice crystals start to form. And when the water is in that temperature range where it's below freezing already, but is still in that liquid state, that is what we call metastable. So pretty much all it needs is that little kickstart to start forming the ice crystals, and then it just spiders from that. So unfortunately for this experiment, was not successful. This was my third attempt, so I really was hoping it would. I kept it in a little bit longer this time because I thought maybe the water wasn't cold enough. But it looks like it turned a little bit to ice in the freezer, so we tried a whole ton of different ways, but unfortunately it just did not work out. So thank you, and thank you for a great semester as well.